Have you ever had an aha moment in your art, that one bit of advice or visual cue that completely changes how you think about painting? Maybe it even challenged you to try something new. That's exactly how I felt after taking a workshop with master watercolor artist Joseph Zbukvic. Now, if you're not familiar with Joseph, he's considered one of the greatest living watercolorists, known for his atmospheric city scenes, poetic landscapes, and figures that they breathe on the paper. His work feels alive. It's full of mood and story and light. It's just awesome. So when I got an email from Principal Gallery earlier in the year, an American gallery that represents his work, they announced that Joseph would be teaching a 2.5-day workshop in Charleston, South Carolina. I didn't even hesitate. I signed up the same day I got the email. I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, and you can see it's just a beautiful day here. I'm escaping the cold of Denver for a little bit in November, and I'm attending a Joseph Zbukvic workshop. It's at the Vendu Hotel, the art hotel, right along the coast actually, and he's got a solo show opening up at Principal Gallery on Friday, so it's going to be a really exciting week. I can't wait to share everything I'm learning. As expected, Joseph was everything you'd hope for in a master teacher. He was charming, funny, direct, and incredibly insightful. He guided us through several paintings, a misty Tuscan landscape. I'll show you my version of this painting. It's a half sheet, it's huge. A foggy city scene. And then its total opposite, a sunny street in Rome, full of strong light and shadow. He even did a few boat on water demonstrations that were just breathtaking. This is one that I copied while he was doing a scene from Venice. Every single brushstroke is deliberate, expressive, and confident. We were a pretty quiet group, completely transfixed during his demos. And then nervously but excitedly, we were tackling our own versions afterwards. Now, I have never actually tried to copy another artist's painting before, but following along with Joseph step by step taught me so much. Between demos, I even sketched a little portrait of him. Doesn't really look like him, but I tried. You can see all the notes that I took. And I made tiny copies of his paintings while he was working. There's my version of his Rome scene. And a tiny version of the scene from Venice, which, by the way, tiny paintings are way easier than doing full sheets. We were pushed to use big brushes and loads of pigment and water, and to paint boldly and quickly. So here are a few of my biggest takeaways from the workshop. Mr. Bead and Mr. Gravity are your friends. Mr. Dab is not your friend. So what that means is the bead is what you get when you're working at a slight angle and gravity is helping the water and the pigment flow down. Now, he emphasized don't work upright, and I actually do work upright sometimes, and I'm realizing maybe that's not a good idea. A little bit of an angle is good. I feel like I'm so late to the game for this. It's like everybody knows this except for me. But the reason for that is that it's enough of an angle, if it's just a slight angle, something like this, that helps the pigment come down, but it gives the paint time to settle into the paper. So when you're working at an angle and you have that bead of paint and water, it stays wet for a long time. You have a lot of time to dab in more color, to add in texture, to do spatter effects. And it just lets watercolor do what it wants to do, right? It just is so much more beautiful that way. And if you're letting watercolor be watercolor, those are usually the sections of the painting that you like the most. My second takeaway was just make things up. Work from 5 or 6 photos, he said, and use your imagination. Working from imagination is not intuitive for me. I do work from several photos, and I've gotten fairly proficient at that, but I still tend to be fairly true to the reference. And so I want to move away from that some more. I want to take some inspiration from what he was showing us And I was just so inspired by his use of imagination, and he just threw figures in where he thought they would look good. And if paint spattered on the sky, he would say, "Look, a bird." It was just the coolest thing. The third thing was, whatever you paint, try to use the least amount of brush strokes as possible. So simplifying your brush strokes so that they're bold, they're confident, and they make a statement can only be a good thing in your paintings. Number 4, how to never make mistakes in watercolor again. I love this one. Say to yourself, "That's what it wanted." I wish I could say that in an Australian accent because it sounded so cute when he said it. That's what it wanted. So from here on out, anytime I make a mistake, that's what I'm going to say. Well, that's what it wanted. Number 5, don't cover everything in a sopping wash. Leave little bits of white. The little bits of white in there are magic. In fact, they make it so much more translucent and breathy. It feels like there's life, there's movement, and you can see this in every single one of his paintings. Number 6, and this is one that I am going to fully embrace in the future, use gouache. He uses gouache in almost all of his paintings. He's not a purist about transparent watercolor. So, obviously if you want to paint in that style, you can't be a part of the Transparent Watercolor Society of America maybe. But honestly, who cares? If it brings you joy and if it's really effective in your painting style to add those dabs of bright opaque color at the end, do it. If Joseph Zbukvic can do that effectively in his paintings, and he does all the time, why can't we, right? Now, even though I've been painting and teaching watercolors for several years, this workshop reminded me that there's always more to learn. Mastery isn't a destination, it's a lifelong journey, and that realization actually fills me with so much joy because it means I get to spend the rest of my life exploring, growing, and chasing beauty through this amazing medium. I feel so humbled and so grateful to have had this experience, and I know it's going to make me a better artist. If you ever get the chance to learn from Joseph Zbukvic, do it. He's not going to be teaching workshops forever, and if not, that's okay. Stick around because I'll be sharing what I learned from this workshop right here and hopefully applying it to future lessons here on the channel. I really want to help you grow in your watercolor journey, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.